This is your Monday Daily Delivery. I am Michael Rand. Huge week in sports coming up. NFL Draft starts on Thursday. We'll have a ton of draft coverage all week, both on this podcast and on the Access Vikings podcast. I'll have Mark Craig on Tuesday's show here to talk through his mock draft. I'll have Ben Gessling on later in the week before the draft to talk through the 7 rounds and what the Vikings' needs are. Definitely we'll talk about what's going on with this team after they make their first-round pick, and that'll be on Friday's show after they make that pick Thursday. So lots to get to with the draft later on this week. But first, what did I miss? Before we get to Patrick Reusse and the segment I love to do with him on Mondays, I want to talk a little bit about Anthony Edwards and Kirill Kaprizov. Tweet from my colleague Kent Youngblood sent me down this path earlier. It was over the weekend sometime when he said, something about how the Wolves and the Wild could have rookies of the year, both of them with Anthony Edwards and Kirill Kaprizov. I think Kaprizov's got to be a shoo-in. I think Edwards is making a really strong case. I think it would have been harder if LaMelo Ball hadn't gotten hurt. But now I feel like it's pretty close, and I feel like Edwards is really making his case with the play he's had down the stretch here. But just the idea that they could have both rookies of the year in the NHL and NBA and how rare that might be. And that sent me down a little research path. And obviously both guys had great weekends. Edwards, huge monster game, 23 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals, 4 assists, and a nice win, really nice win over Utah. And Kaprizov just keeps scoring. The Wild won 7 straight. We'll talk about that a lot more with Patrick Reusse here in a little bit. But, both of those guys just dynamic young players. How long has it been since a market has had the Rookie of the Year in both the NBA and the NHL? Now, granted, not going to have, there's going to be some unique situations where it's not going to be possible because there's a lot of markets in the NHL that aren't in the NBA and vice versa. There's no Portland team in the NHL. There's no, there's no Vancouver team in the NBA anymore. There's no, a lot of the Canadian teams are different. Other teams in the, Buffalo, there's no NBA Buffalo team. You get it. There's not going to be this overlap possibility every year, but how long do you have to go back before one market has had both the NBA and NHL Rookie of the Year? So I looked this up. It goes all the way back to 1979, 1980, and I think you're going to like the two names that come with that. 1979, 1980, Boston. Ray Bourque in the NHL and Larry Bird in the NBA, Rookie of the Year, and in both sports, Bourque winning the Calder Trophy in the NHL, Larry Bird winning the Rookie of the Year in the NBA. Those guys had pretty good, went on to pretty good careers, I'd say, in both cases. I'm not putting that on Kaprizov and Edwards to be that good. I'm just saying the rarity of it and how good those guys are right now has got to make you feel pretty good about where both of those players are going to be in this market for many, many, many years to come. Got to talk Minnesota United a little bit at the jump here too. Tough home opener. Lost 2-1 to Real Salt Lake. That's an 0-2 start for the Loons after a really, really promising season in 2020. And now, again, 2 games is nothing to panic about, even in a season that doesn't have a ton of games. But probably some concern with that beginning. We've talked to Will Trapp on this podcast. Last week, going back, talked to both Will Trapp and Ethan Finley for a live video we did on StarTribune.com heading into that home opener. And the thing they've got to guard against is assuming that you're just going to have the same level of success because you did it last year. And I don't think that's going to be the assumption. I think this is just, the opener in Seattle. They played pretty well in the first half, didn't get a result, and then there was a huge cascade of goals, and that happens. And the Real Salt Lake's just one game. They probably would like to have some of what happened back, but again, we got to see the Loons get on track here because you don't want to see them fall too far and then start to feel like, okay, we got all this ground to make up. We were supposed to be good, and now we're losing. So I'll be interested to see how they bounce back from a couple of disappointing results so far this season.
Enjoy your money your way when you switch to Royal Credit Union. You can pay friends and family for free, deposit checks on the go, and even get alerts about your account sent in real time. Stop in and open your account today or get started at rcu.org/yourway. Insured by NCUA.
It's Monday on Daily Delivery. Patrick Reusse joins the show. Busy weekend of sports going on. Twins were back at home, which we, thought maybe that would be the salve for what they needed, Patrick, after that road trip that I talked to Megan Ryan about last week. That did not, that might have been one of the worst road trips we've ever seen, given everything that happened. But the home against the Pirates, you're thinking you get Jay Happ almost throwing a no hitter Friday, like, okay, they've got this thing turned around, and then just two completely flat games on Saturday and Sunday. I've got some thoughts on kind of where this team is after 20 games, but I want to hear from you from the jump. What do you make of this team?
Here's my thought. Where are they good? The catching is worse. No hitting at all for the catching. Garbers looks like he did last year, almost, not quite that inept, but almost. Jeffers looks like he's not ready to hit, come close to being a hitter in the big leagues. Terrible when Snow plays first base. Willens Astudillo is not an everyday player. We all like him, but he's a bench guy. Polanco playing as poorly at second as he did at short last year and can't hit. I don't know what's going on. I mean, you would be optimistic about Polanco as a hitter on his track record if he was hitting the ball hard at all. The shortstop will come back. He's good, but he's goofy. Donaldson hasn't hit. He hit some when he first came in. He's okay. If he plays, he's fine. They're good. They're good at third base. Left field, they're right terrible. Now. Nobody's ready to play. Arise is probably their best left fielder. They brought up Kirill, tried to get him to. Okay, he's going to be our regular left fielder. Did he get a hit all weekend? I don't think so.
I don't think he did.
I don't think so. Buxton's great. Right field, Kepler's not playing, and he was playing terrible. And Cruz is good. He's fine. He goes up there and gives you professional at bats and does fine. Maeda's been terrible. Jose Barrios is good, and the starting pitching overall is bad, and the bullpen has been shaky as can be. I like the way Rogers is throwing the ball. Tyler Duffy's not as good as he was. And, where are they good? They're not good. They're not right now. People say, don't panic. Well, I panic when I see a bad team, and they're bad right now. You look around the diamond, they're no better than who? I'd take Kansas City over them right now. The only team they're better than is Detroit. And now they just played a team of anonymous individuals and a bunch of pitchers off the street who you never heard of, and they didn't hit against any of them. They didn't hit all weekend. Tell me not to panic. If I'm a Twins follower and I really care about them, I'm in a panic for dang good reasons right now.
Yeah. I think you hit on kind of in going through position by position, you kind of got to my thought on this team, and it's similar but a little bit different. They feel a little bit like last year's Vikings to me, which is not a compliment because that team finished 7-9. A team with a lot of, I shouldn't even say a lot, but a handful of really, really high-end players, Buxton, Barrios pitching the way he is. Even Maeda probably turns this around at some point. Rogers has been, has a track record. Cruz, Donaldson, Simmons, but that has overrated or has, not built the roster to the point where the supporting players is enough to hold that all together, and that's going to hold them down. And I feel like that happened with last year's Vikings. You had so many really, really good players, but the rest of the roster just wasn't very good, and so you can't win. I don't think right now, especially when some of those guys don't stay on the field. You can't win right now when you don't have those players to hold it all together. And I feel like the Twins, if they were counting on Garver and Polanco to be better than they were in 2020, they're like, hey, throw that year out. 2019 is the real those guys. That 2020 was the outlier. It's starting to feel like the outlier was 2019 for some of these guys, and that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, well, there's another thing that I failed to mention. Jake Cave was hitting 150 or something, and after being terrible in the mini season and being here all year, and he has played in all 19 games and started 14. Yeah. I mean, is this it? Where's the development here?
Yeah.
This is this is an old team. I believe Phil Miller's piece didn't he write this when the season started? This is the oldest team in baseball.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but yeah, they're old.
Cruz obviously adds, to that average and stuff, but this is an old team. This is not, Sano's going to turn it around any day now. He's going to be 28 on May 11th.
Right.
This is, and where's the pitchers? Where's Balazovic? I know last year hurt because the minor league, there was no minor league season, but where's the player development here? That I don't see it. This won't be 2011, but the feel's going to be the same. That 2010, they were great, and they'd been on that great run. The next year, they went 63 and 99, and started into the abyss. To me, this feels like they're closer to 2011 than they are to this is the year we're going to win a playoff game. I right now, to me, they're not gonna. They have no chance to be in the top 5 in the American League. I don't see how they're going to get hot. You're going to get hot with Matt Shoemaker in your rotation. Come on.
And what happened? Because you pointed out some things coming out of spring that you were concerned about, but you had a pretty. You were down there for a while. You were thinking, I like this team. That you thought this. That they had something going, and maybe like you said, maybe the problem is they don't do anything exceptionally well. Like even when they were going to be good, they didn't seem like they had one thing that was going to be their core identity. But what happened between then and now? Is it just
you know what, the first week or 10 days of spring training, first couple of times I saw Maeda pitch, and Barrios looked great. I mean, I know it's spring training, but everybody, even though you didn't have a year, they kind of looked young and they look fresh, and they look like, look at Donaldson, and he's moving around, and Cruz comes in and he's hitting right away, and you're thinking that, okay, Kepler can't be as bad as he was last time. Of course, Kepler got a hit on March 1st, and he got his next one on March 28th. That should have been an indicator that things aren't real good. But I don't know. You just, I guess it was expectations that, for me, it started to transform itself from really strong optimism to they could be okay, to when all of a sudden Sano was just as god awful as he'd been, and Garver looked really good at the plate the first couple of times, 2-3 times, and then he started to go. And Jeffers, I haven't seen him hit a ball, and just all the weaknesses we see now, it's kind of started to appear in spring training, and they don't really play more than 5 innings, and I don't know. And Maeda, to me, when I started seeing him messing around, I said, what is this? Because when he has his mix of pitches, he's great.
Right.
But God, why is he 3-2 on everybody? That this whole concept that you can't go after a hitter, it's kind of rampant throughout baseball. I'll admit that. But go after a hitter, somebody. Let's go. Come on. This 3-2 hitting guys, putting, starting rallies, all these, they never have clean innings. Happ was an amazing sight.
Revelation.
I mean, after the first 2 innings, when he was 3-2 on a couple of guys, actually going after hitters. Now, I was shocked with Pineda because the way he started that game, and he's been pretty good. I thought, man, he's going to breeze, and then all of a sudden he gives up 3 runs. And with this team, it's impossible to win without it. I mean, that 12-run aberration in Oakland, you take away that game, they haven't hit a lick.
No.
So I don't know what, it's just one of those, to this point, what can go wrong is going wrong. And we'll see. But I mean, now I haven't looked at Cleveland's rotation, or even if they're going to get rained out there, or what's going to go on. But
I think they missed Bieber.
They managed to do nothing.
Bieber.
Mike, they managed to do nothing against bad pitching.
Yeah.
That's what should scare you. You get, this isn't like, okay, they got this hidden gem and that they're going to be facing you. The guy they beat, Brubaker's been pretty good, but the last two guys, they're taking guys off the street and you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's ugly if you ask me.
More confidence in a different team, the Wild. 7 in a row, Patrick. 7 wins in a row. I don't know if we can draw, 100% conclusion, but all those games it's coincided with the return of Marcus Foligno to the lineup. He does seem like he adds something where it just kind of makes the rest of the lines, the rest of the team fall into place. They've also, benefited from the nature of that division where it's 3 really good teams at the top and then 4 really bad teams, 5 really bad teams at the bottom, just the division there. But what do we make of this team? You got hockey fever?
Well, I'll never get hockey fever.
No,
because but yeah, I mean, it's KZB, man. He's the guy, and he's getting better here.
I know.
I mean, he was phenomenal to start with, and you were really intrigued with him, and he was good, but he has been terrific. Those 7-game winning streaks, I think they've only had 3 once. I think they won one of them with 3. Every other time they got 5 twice, 6 once, 4. I think I added it up 32 goals in the 7-game winning streak, but it's not in the. I mean, they are scoring 4 or 5 goals a night, and he's some of these guys. I mean, they just gave a 3-year contract to Ryan Hartman. When you saw Ryan Hartman start this season, did you say, "Wow, are we glad to have him"? I mean,
right.
They
Nick
have
Bonino.
Bonino. I mean, it's they have got it going, and they might 7 in a row with a 7-game homestand coming up right now. There's 10 left, 7 of them at home, or maybe 9 left. 7 at home. They got 3 straight here with St. Louis. They've lost 2 home games all year, 2-3 home games all year. This could, they Vegas and Colorado better look out. These guys, I don't know who's gonna. You're gonna stumble into a hot goalie and get beat here, but man, they're playing good. It's incredible.
Yeah, clinched a playoff spot over the weekend
out of nowhere. I mean, Dean Evison is the coach of the year in the NHL. If you ask me, who's going to beat him out?
Yeah, and Big Guerin's done a good job kind of putting this together because you're right. This felt going in like kind of one of those transitional years. You see those in sports a lot, right? A team is kind of just the what they've tried before hasn't quite worked. They don't want to everybody's screaming for a full on rebuild a year ago, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna remake, not rebuild, and they kind of slide into that play-in series in the weird year last year. But then I don't think nobody saw this coming. Nobody could have imagined that this year was going to.
But one other thing, let's not give Guerin too much credit. Fenton turned this roster around and got rid of the load. He might not have been Mr. Charm, but he got rid of the kind of the complacent crew that was never going anywhere. They waited for those guys for 5 or 6 years, and they packed Victor Rask, who looked like the joke of all time. He's okay.
Right.
I was listening the other night to Kurtz and Reed in the car, and he won like 6-7 straight faceoffs. That guy. I mean, they're doing things like that too. They don't have anybody out there who's a waste of time, I don't think. And then they got a few stars, and Eck has gotten a lot better. I remember asking Micheletti when the season started, is this guy ever going to be a goal scorer? Is he, what's he like? And man, he's picked up his game compared to what it was. And they just, I don't know, they're good. And the goalies are, I mean, Talbot that was the best move Guerin made, don't you think?
100%. I've been screaming for 2 years, like, you got to get rid of Dubnyk. This isn't just not working. And, they finally figured out a way to get him out of there and get a new veteran in, and Talbot's been fantastic.
And they picked the right one, and they're probably lucky that they're trying to get Fleury, right? And they ended up with Talbot, who's cheaper and probably better. I mean, Fleury's okay, but Talbot's carried them, and the Finnish kid had a hell of a run, 9 wins in a row, but there's no doubt who's going to be starting every night when they get to the playoffs. It's Talbot. So it's incredible. They're gonna. Are they going to end up with the most? Well, no, because they don't play a full schedule. If they were playing a full schedule, they'd end up with more points than any Wild team ever, right? So
they got 65 points in 47 games right now. So I'd have to kind of 65 divided by 47. You talk for a minute. I'll do some quick math.
You know what? The madness that we would be feeling towards this and the anticipation towards the Stanley Cup and everything, if it was a normal schedule and you were playing everybody around the league and it was, and the building was full and, everybody from Woodbury was flocking to the games, it would be, I think the excitement level would be higher, but people are catching on to the idea that this is a really good team and they got a chance. They got a chance for a playoff run. And, and as you say, they get to play, St. Louis is okay. They got them 3 straight here now at home, but St. Louis is okay. Colorado and Vegas are good, but it's nice to play Arizona and the 3 California
Arizona
teams.
The Sharks, Kings, and Ducks. Yeah.
Have they lost Arizona once or something?
Yeah, they've really clean. It's a little bit like the old AL Central in the 2000s with the Twins. They've just feasted on these bottom teams.
2019. Yeah, I think they won 13 against one team and 14 against 2 of them. Or something.
Right.
So,
they're on pace.
This is something.
Would be 113. That's the pace in an 82 game season right now. 113 points. That'd be good. That'd be pretty good.
Nice to be talking to a guy who does math that quick too. That's a hopeful sign for America right there.
I was originally a math guy, Patrick, before I got into writing.
I'm good, but I do it the old-fashioned way. That I was talking to my grandkids about the new work math that they want them to do, and I said, so you can't just take 8 into 56 and say it's 7, huh? You gotta come up with something else. I said, that's the answer. What work do I have to show you? That's the answer. So,
yeah, my daughter does the same thing. She's in first grade. They've got like these putting the bubble and numbers into the bubbles and dividing them out. I'm like, okay.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Get it right. Come on.
I think the process. Trust the process.
This is something we haven't done since we've been doing this together. A little praise for the Timberwolves.
Yeah. And, let's end with that. That's a great thought because they've beaten their best games this year. 2 wins against the Jazz.
Yes, but this one was impressive.
Yeah, this was good.
I gotta say, this is the best Cats played since maybe when we first were discovering him in the year. He's playing his 35 minutes and he's playing well, and he's still not going to be a horse down inside defensively, but I think his attitude for playing is better than it's been, don't you?
I do. I think he's gotten better defensively and kind of, the smartest, I think Finch has got something going with the coaching. I think he's got some acumen there, but the smartest thing he did was just say, Cat's our guy. We're going to run everything. We're going to run almost everything through him. We're going to make him as comfortable as possible on offense. We're going to use him a lot, but it doesn't mean he's going to shoot all the time, but everything's going to go through him. And defensively, here's your assignment. Here's what you're good at. Go do it.
Yeah, their issue is still those nights when they don't guard anybody. Right. But I know a lot of people are way down on Rubio, but I like Russell coming off the bench because that is a weapon that, you get into the fourth quarter of a close game and all of a sudden there he is, and you haven't dealt with him all night. And all of a sudden you haven't dealt with him for long minutes. You haven't dealt with him for 35 minutes, but all of a sudden you got Edwards to worry about, you got Cat to worry about, and then all of a sudden you got this guy to deal with, and he's, for want of a better word, he's fresh, and he's that new weapon that they're presenting there that you haven't dealt with. And I think that works. I think, he'll hit shots in those situations. If it's been one of those nights when he's been out there, if he'd been out there for 30 minutes and he'd gone 2 for 11 from 3,
right?
You say, okay, he's done for the night. But in this situation, he'll make some threes for you. He'll make some shots for you down the stretch, especially because their attention has been focused, and not by then their attention's focused on Cat and Edwards. And, they got 2 really good players now. And then they have, got Russell off the bench, where you don't have to watch him play defense all night and say,
Yep.
God Almighty, is he awful?
Yeah, right. It gives you a better defensive start, gives you a jolt of offense when he comes in. I don't know if this is the plan forever. I mean, it's probably just a minutes thing still, but he's getting up to more like 30 minutes a game now. But I'm curious if they, if part of this is they want to see if, hey, what if we do draft a point guard? We want to see how this all fits together, because I don't think you're not going to start a rookie and Edwards and Russell. That's too small. That's not enough. That's not enough defense in the backcourt. You got it. So what if we do this instead of Rubio at point? What if this is what happens? We got to see what this looks like.
That might be it, but there's nothing wrong with having a great 6th man. Now, you might not want to pay him that much, but I like the way it is, but I like this because I don't like starting off the game with a guy who's not going to guard anybody, and he's not going to guard anybody. Sorry, but if he's in a fourth period of a close game, then he might actually guard somebody.
Yeah.
But for at least 2 shifts or something. But if he's out there in the first quarter and they're running by, Markel Fultz is running past him and shooting layups right off the bat, I think he sets a defensive tone that drives you crazy. But I'd like him in I like him in the second quarter and the fourth quarter, and you can play him 30 minutes as your 6th man. There's no problem with that, and I like what they're doing with him. But Edwards is you mentioned this before, but if Edwards isn't the rookie of the year, who is?
Well, it would be Ball. I mean, Ball was going great before he got hurt. He was the favorite, but
he's been out quite a while.
I feel it's got like Edwards, like the combination of that injury plus how well Edwards has played. And the other night with that win against Utah, he had like 23 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals, and 4 assists. I mean, that's the kind of game you don't see very often from a rookie, right? The filling up all 4 of those categories with the rounded game.
Well, what I like about him is, as well as Cat's playing, we're running stuff through Cat. He has no subservience to anybody. He's going to get his shots. When he sees a shot, he's going to get it. There's no hesitation with him. He's fully confident.
Yep.
He's still 19, right? Has he turned 20 yet?
No, I don't think he's turned 20. I don't think he turns 20 till the summer. I mean, I think he's a pretty late birthday. Did you see his quote? Do you see his quote the other day? Do you see his quote the other day?
Let's face it, we all love him because he's goofy when he talks, man. Some of the stuff he says.
Do you see what he said the other day?
Great.
You see when they asked him why they weren't winning, why they weren't closing games out in the fourth quarter and playing so well early in the season? He said, because I wasn't playing the fourth quarter.
Well,
he's great.
I still think the best one is the one they ended up getting blown out and giving up 140 points after playing pretty good. But he said they came out fired up because it was some assistant coach's birthday. There were 2 birthdays going on. One of Yancho and some assistant coach, their birthdays. What the hell are you talking about?
He's 19. He's 19. Who knows what goes on in his mind?
But he's big. People are gonna like that guy. It's what can this. If we sell a team, and if in the summer, and don't lose that draft choice, can, and in this crowded market, can they get people enthused to come back to the arena next fall? That's the question, because I think hidden in all the losses is more hope than there's been in a while. That's for sure.
Yep. They play Utah again Monday at Target Center. Patrick, great stuff. Love having you on Monday mornings. Hope everybody enjoys it as well. We'll do this again next week. All right.
All right, Michael. Thank you.
Let's end quick with the cooler. Like I said, a lot of draft talk this week. One player I'd hope the Vikings might get, Orlando Brown, a tackle for Baltimore. He will not be traded anymore. He got traded to Kansas City on Friday. The dream is over, so more than likely the Vikings are either going to be, right there at 14 taking an offensive lineman or having to move up in some way to get the player they really want. So we'll see where that goes this week. Really excited to talk a lot about that with Mark Craig on Tuesday's podcast and Ben Gessling later on down the week. Thanks for listening today. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you again soon on Tuesday. I'm Michael Rand for Daily Delivery.